We've all heard about BlackRock by now. It has assets of $8.59 trillion, or around 8.5% of global GDP, making it the most powerful corporation in the world. Their influence, however, is not limited to monetary considerations. They've been able to carry out their terrible plans for quite some time now without facing even the slightest amount of opposition, because they stay concealed in the shadows. The chief of the National Economic Council and the Deputy Secretary of the Treasury are both unelected posts that exist solely to create favorable market circumstances for their own enrichment at the expense of others, who cannot participate in them. They make sure to be nearby in extremely high and significant advisory jobs, where they can quietly suggest policies to the heads of state in the West without fear of repercussion. Welcome back to the Financial Fortune YouTube channel, your go-to source for all things finances and investment. Today, we have a jaw-dropping update that is sending shockwaves through the financial world. Brace yourself as we dive deep into the unraveling events surrounding what some are calling the total collapse of BlackRock. In this video, we'll explore the shocking developments and uncover the chaotic circumstances that have led to this unprecedented downfall. Get ready to witness the madness unfold before your eyes. Mike Pyle, BlackRock's chief investment officer, is now the chief economic advisor to United States Vice President Kamala Harris, and BlackRock managing director Eric von Nostrand is now an advisor to Joe Biden. BlackRock may suggest anything it sees fit to the world's two most powerful politicians, since they are within easy reach of the investment firm. The tides, however, have been changing recently. Now that BlackRock's interfering hands have been exposed, the public may judge them accordingly. Investors and untainted political forces have started looking closely, and pressure is being exerted gradually. We'll get into how the beast at his BlackRock is being drained of its vital organs and its one and only source of allegiance capital, later on in this movie. Why does the public have such a bad impression of BlackRock, and what have they done wrong? How much influence does BlackRock now have in government? Why not purchase up entire neighborhoods worth of single-family houses across the US and repurpose them as apartment buildings, condos, or something else entirely? An action that, by raising mortgage rates across the board, would force many young families to continue living in rental properties rather than owning their own home. Even in the realm of finance, where BlackRock reigns supreme, the company will reportedly attempt to swallow up anything that moves, including dying firms like Credit Suisse, as part of their strategy to expand across Europe. BlackRock's own managing director and former advisor on economic matters related to Russia and Ukraine is none other than Eric von Nostrand. Damages to Ukraine are estimated at $1 trillion, and weekly payments of $4 billion are expected to be made under the terms of the deal, with the ultimate amount borrowed in the form of loans from BlackRock, which stands to earn tens of billions in interest. The worst aspect isn't that BlackRock is making money off of these tragedies, or that they were able to negotiate this arrangement by lobbying the US government and the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. BlackRock has no genuine reason to fight for peace in Ukraine now that it has won the state-mandated monopoly agreement to manage all of the investment the country is expected to receive. Since BlackRock stands to gain no matter what happens and stands to gain even more longer the conflict drags on, they have every motive to sow as much turmoil as possible for their own financial gain. For Rock, it's all about the money and the power. The ethics of acquiring them are of no concern. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink has been vocal about his firm's commitment to environmental, social, and governance (ESG) metrics, often referred to as the woke credit score for businesses, in his annual letter to CEOs for several years running, beginning in 2015, and even going so far as to proclaim that ESG will cause a fundamental reshaping of finance and make climate change a determining factor in BlackRock's long-term prospects. His 2020 annual letter to investors reads like smoke and mirrors meant to distract from his less than exemplary investment decisions. German nonprofit climate group ERG World estimates that in 2020, China will have invested at least $85 billion into the global coal economy, and will have given $91 billion to oil and gas companies in Texas, including ExxonMobil. Is it just me, or does this make Larry's planet-saving talk sound a little hypocritical? BlackRock's head of external affairs Dahlia Blass recently announced that the firm had invested a total of $260 billion in the fossil fuel industry. Blass also noted that BlackRock was the largest investor in the fossil fuel industry, adding that, as a long-term investor in these companies, we want to see these companies succeed and prosper. Why, therefore, would they feel at ease telling the Texas Senate Committee on State Affairs about these numbers in January, after having openly and actively encouraged? BlackRock has been the target of criticism from conservative figures like Glenn Beck, a political analyst for the Republican Party. Beck has made many movies titled BlackRock exploits your money to push ESG and far-left agendas, and Saudi Arabia's investment into BlackRock indicates ESG is a hoax. Even SBF, who was lauded for having one of the top ESG firms in the world until he was discovered for defrauding millions of people out of billions of dollars through his crypto exchange FTX, was reported as claiming that ESG had been warped beyond recognition. This in and of itself is a dead giveaway. The ESG is a hoax. Despite the fact that SBF's company was a front for widespread criminal fraud, he was able to attract billions of dollars in investment by utilizing this stamp of approval. But when SBF got caught, he screamed like a rat and let millions of people in on the secret of how the powers that be utilize ESG scores to increase the value of the firms they own without taking on any more risk. Events surrounding Elon Musk's speech in 2022 will provide further evidence of the twisted interpretation of ESG that places ExxonMobil and oil giant among the world's top 10 most environmentally friendly corporations. Even more preposterous was the fact that they had manipulated their credit scores, to the point that Elon Musk's electric car company had been removed from consideration. After Musk brought ESG's fraudulent forms to the notice of the international community, it was only a matter of time until the enraged people took justice into our own hands, proving to the perpetrators of this ESG scam that we can and will resist their oppression. Hundreds of French protesters stormed BlackRock's Paris office on April 6, 2023, armed with red flares and smoke bombs. They made it to the building's ground floor, sending a message to BlackRock that, together, the French people are stronger than they are individually and can bring down anything they've built. A French protester's courageous act of defiance sends a powerful message to megacorporations like BlackRock: the tide is changing, and war has begun. We have identified them and know how to harm them. With new problems emerging daily, it's no surprise that investors' faith in BlackRock is at an all-time low. With the threat of a bank run looming if revenues don't improve, it's no surprise that Fink would try to wring every last drop of profit out of the company he co-founded and has led since 1988. This would explain Think's decision to move away from ESG after the last 10 largest ESG funds in the US posted double-digit losses in 2022. After 7 years of BlackRock's relentless promotion of ESG, which we now know to be nonsense, Fink stated at a New York Times-sponsored conference in November that the topic was no longer a priority for the company. We are not environmentalists, but rather capitalists and fiduciaries to our customers. Therefore, if it were in our clients' best advantage, BlackRock would advocate for ESG policies. 2 shareholder resolutions in January addressing climate change issues received less than 10% support from shareholders, proving that ESG has primarily been of interest to individuals with a political purpose rather than to shareholders. He began by removing $125 million from money market accounts handled by BlackRock, saying that the company was too involved in global politics. Then, in Louisiana and Missouri, investors withdrew even more money, costing BlackRock now over $3 billion. But it looks like pressure is mounting from both ends of the political spectrum, and BlackRock is doomed to fail in the ESG fiasco it has built for itself. Contrary to popular belief, it is possible to wring blood from a stone. BlackRock is damaged and more difficult than ever. The company is under increasing strain as all sides apply pressure on the ESG wound. But we can't let ourselves be duped. Fighting corporatism is an ongoing battle. BlackRock will keep fighting, even when outmatched, since it has no respect for humanity. But in concert, we may take care of them in the same way as the French demonstrators who besieged their headquarters did. As we wrap up this incredible video, we are left with more questions than answers. Will the total collapse of BlackRock have a cascading effect on other financial institutions? How will governments and regulators respond to this massive blow to the global economy? What lessons can we learn from this astonishing event to safeguard our investments and financial well-being? The future remains uncertain, but one thing is for sure: we are witnessing a monumental moment that will reshape the financial landscape. Stay tuned to the Financial Fortune channel for the latest updates on this gripping story, along with valuable insights and strategies to navigate these tumultuous times. Remember, knowledge is power when it comes to protecting your financial future. Until next time, may your investments be resilient and your fortunes be secure.